What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka All Fires. Now, tonight is the huge Marvel Studios presentation at D23. We're going to talk about what to expect during this video, because now we've both heard from Daniel RPK and Jeff Snyder, the most trusted of industry insider sources, on exactly what to expect and even the exact number of X-Men we're going to see on stage tonight. But tied into that is this new rumor about an actress we have not heard tied to Storm that all of a sudden has now burst onto the scene via a Jeff Snyder scoop, and it's not who people were thinking. We're breaking it all down, what to expect from tonight's D23 presentation, including how many X-Men we're set to be introduced to, and the new actress that's tied to Storm. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. Thanks to everyone who's been subbing lately and helped grow the channel. If you haven't already, I would just kindly invite you to do so. Subbing is the best way to support us, plus allowing you for the giveaways. Also, we will be doing a live watch party here at the channel before the presentation tonight. We'll go live around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. So if you're checking out all the announcements tonight, come by and hang out. It's going to be a great time. Now let's jump into the scoop. Okay, so according to Daniel RPK and Jeff Snyder, they are in lockstep in their reporting about what's to come from D23 tonight. We should expect some stuff for Doomsday, a new Doomsday trailer to coincide with ticket sales, as well as an announcement for Vision Quest, a trailer for Vision Quest, and then the X-Men cast announcement. Now, Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast went one step further and claimed that his expectation for tonight is that we'll be introduced to 4 X-Men, one of which we already know Sadie Sink will be live on stage, and 3 new X-Men, and if you had to guess, it may be some of the actors and actresses that are already confirmed by the Hollywood trades, like Kit Connor and Samara Weaving. Now, speaking of Kit Connor, Jeff Snyder also went on to say that his source that was first to tell him about Kit Connor brought up a brand new name when tied to Storm. However, this was also the source that denied Sadie Sink was playing Jean Grey, so to him he told everyone to take it with a grain of salt. However, he is rumoring that Susie Bemba is who he is hearing connected to the MCU Storm. She's a French actress, if you're not familiar with her work, and of course the one name that's been coming up and was even featured in a Forbes article earlier this week talking about the D23 presentation is Jamie Lawson. And of course, the big reason Jamie Lawson's name has stayed at the forefront is because she worked with Ryan Coogler in Sinners, and Ryan Coogler is heavily rumored to be introducing Storm during Black Panther 3 and said to have a hand in helping cast her. I think that's a big reason Jamie Lawson's name sort of floated to the top and stayed there. But I will say this about Jeff Snyder and the Hot Mic podcast, John Roca and all of that. Their scoops about casting have been spot on. In fact, he even had Kit Connors the day before the Hollywood trades broke it, and he just got beat to the punch with that. He's the guy who nailed Sadie Sink, playing Jean Grey, joining Spider-Man Brand New Day. Also the same exact guy who nailed Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom a full 2 months before Marvel Studios confirmed that at San Diego Comic-Con. And again, if you guys remember here at the channel, we did not cover that story because I thought it was so utterly ridiculous. That being said, he has been on the money before, so even though he warned everybody to take it with a grain of salt, if they roll out some of the cast members tonight and Susie Bemba is up there as Storm, don't be surprised. Jeff Snyder has nailed these in the past. Now, earlier tonight, Caleb Williams on Twitter, another Twitter scoopster, went as far as to say that, quote, as of last week, Christopher Abbott was the front runner for Professor X, and he even said we'll see if he's announced tomorrow, implying that Professor X may be one of the 4 that we're getting. Now, I've always said, even though the reports are Marvel Studios is rushing to lock everybody down, if they just announce the X-Men and give us some of the cast, that would be more than enough to constitute a cast announcement, especially if it's some of the core members like an Xavier. And I'm pretty sure that in the context of everything Marvel did and didn't announce at San Diego Comic-Con, the reason we didn't hear about X-Men is they were saving it for tomorrow night for their own D23 presentation. I don't expect that we're going to get a title of any kind, maybe a logo or a title card, but even when they unveiled that for Black Panther, it was merely Black Panther 3, no specific title. It won't be called Black Panther 3. That's just a placeholder for now, and I can imagine it may be the same with the X-Men as it's undergoing another revision of the script. They may still be working on the title, doesn't mean they can't give us some sort of logo for the X-Men, and that's exactly what we may get, this official Marvel Studios X-Men logo, which would be cool enough, and a couple members of the cast. And look, it's still years out from when this movie is dropping. They'll probably start filming next year, that will be more than enough to suffice, and I think really at least scratch the itch for a lot of Marvel fans who have been wondering why in the world we haven't heard anything about this X-Men reboot and only got Ghost Rider and Black Panther at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, the one detail that Jeff Snyder added that I can't quite get my head around, and I don't know if he meant to use this word or didn't use it properly in context, but his source said that the presentation for Vision Quest, Doomsday, and the X-Men would be rather bleak, or kind of bleak. Bleak is a really weird adjective to use to describe a Marvel Studios presentation. It's usually the opposite of that. It's meant to be like a rock show. It's meant to be exciting and colorful and vivacious and full of energy. Bleak is cold and empty and gloomy and without hope. It doesn't really describe this. So I wonder if there wasn't something lost in translation there. I cannot see Marvel Studios presentation being bleak. And then I thought about, well, the course of what they're talking about. They're talking about Avengers Doomsday, Vision Quest, and the X-Men reboot. And it could be the case that when he said the presentation's going to be bleak is that all three of these projects, Vision Quest, the X-Men reboot, Doomsday, are dealing with rather heavy subject matter and content compared to some of the other lighter themed franchises that we've seen in the MCU before, or compared to the normal tone of levity and comedic relief that punctuates what's supposed to be dramatic scenes. There are definitely a lot of things in motion set up from Spider-Man Brand New Day that are ushering in the familiar signs of a citizenship and basically a society that's going to label mutants as others, as it was in the comics, and start them on their path to trying to prove their place and create a world where humans and mutants can live side by side. And since we're entering into the X-Men on that note already, we see the landscape from Spider-Man Brand New Day, it's possible that by bleak he meant it's just a very dour, sour tone amongst all of these projects because they're heavy subject matter. I don't suspect that Vision is going to be a quote-unquote light and happy outing. Spectral Vision seemingly has a lot of trauma to work through and has a lot of other AIs that are a part of him and in the show. So that's what I could see by that description. I don't think that the presentation itself will be bleak. That doesn't sound like a Marvel Studios presentation at all. And I got to admit, I'm certainly super hyped for them to give us anything X-Men related, because this is something we've been dreaming about as MCU fans for the better part of 20 years. And it's finally here. That being said, I have to be honest, I felt like the San Diego Comic-Con presentation, and I said it in my coverage of the presentation, felt a little rushed. It was less than an hour, only 45 minutes, and compared to some of the other huge slate announcements, and basically the announcement of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, it felt a little underwhelming, or maybe rushed isn't the right word, but just not quite the fanfare that it normally was. Others said it felt like a rock show and was awesome. That's why I referenced that exact description earlier in this video, and that may be the case, but I said I genuinely believe Marvel Studios is transitioning from San Diego Comic-Con to D23 as their biggest announcement, and I can see somewhere down the future road of these announcements where we expect D23 to be bigger than San Diego Comic-Con. I may be wrong, but to me it had way less to do with Marvel Studios not wanting to spoil Sadie Sink as Jean Grey a week before Spider-Man Brand New Day was in theaters, and a lot more to do with them making this transition to D23 being their biggest presentation. Guys, we will be doing a watch party live tonight. We'll go live about an hour before the presentation. It is 10 to 12 on the East Coast, 7 to 9 on the West Coast. Come by and hang out. It'll be a good time. Remember to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That automatically enters you for the giveaways. Hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with the videos. And if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. Find me on all other platforms with original music under the name All Fires. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.